Hello, my people. I have missed so many days. I didn't even look to see when I last recorded. Wanted to jump on here really quick, going through withdrawals after not talking to myself for so long. This is like my own form of therapy again. Okay, so to speed you up in my very eventful Nora Finch land, some interesting things happened today, which I will lightly touch on like some areas and go deeper, maybe a little bit into others, but still trying to always make most of these solos like under 15 minutes. Okay, number one is my little sister. She is so terrible. I think she just turned 23 or 24 in November. And I don't really know that I've talked about it on a solo, but basically she just graduated from Leonard Word. I think that's how you pronounce it. Um, from the Army, military police, and that is its own can of worms that I could go into for those that are interested in. But basically, she was recommended to go into it because she wants to be a canine narcotics officer. So I'm very supportive of her doing that. That is part of her calling, even though, her mom wanted to be her doctor or a lawyer. And my dad, I don't know that he cared. Really didn't want her to become a cop. But basically, so she graduated today, so I got to see that live. And it's just really interesting, the whole thing. And then my dad and her mom, and they all showed up there. So my dad, while he said no, that he didn't think it was a good idea for her to join, we are supportive of her. So he went there. He went there with his wife to for that. And then yeah, I could go into, we've had several discussions about her, about veterans and the care, that they're not given and different things like that. I've always been, um, actually since a teenager, been curious about veterans, more specifically, in the sense of, about them doing things that go against their morals and their soul. So that's kind of where it started with me. So I've always had, and my dad was in the army for 18 months at Vietnam, even though he wasn't like involved in all of the things of Vietnam. I believe he worked in the artillery unit, and then my stepdad was a navigator in the Air Force for a very long time. Okay, so just to speak up there, in case you were ever wondering why I'm interested in veterans, if you've ever listened to me talk or my shows, you can go look that up. There's a holistic episode. Um, I forget what episode it is, but it's Healing Our Nation's Veterans. I think it's called that. So, okay, so she graduated. Okay, so now she's going to be stationed in upstate New York for, I believe, 4 years. Okay, so she went ahead and glad so far that she's had a positive experience, and just praying that she's going to be led in a positive direction. Okay, secondly, I said I was going to start a movie list, and I haven't done it yet because I always, when I watch things, I always, whether it's a life lesson or a thought or something, it's like I have to take notes constantly, get made fun of, on two movies that I've watched. And one is, they're both really wild in the sense of like, okay, so one is called, I believe it's called Better Watch Out. And sorry if I mess up the title, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And basically, it reminds me of American Beauty. If you've ever seen that movie, that basically in the mainstream world, this is what's just so shocking, is to see a movie, not necessarily so dark, but showing like how traditional, conventional, families on the outside can look, but on the inside, they have all of these very, very deep issues, problems, you know, as all of us have our issues and baggage and different things. But it's just very fascinating. So American Beauty. So this one is about, it made me look up again if the kid was a narcissist or a psychopath, but basically he takes hostage his babysitter. And you can go check it out if you want, but I was going to start talking about personality disorders. And um, it was very well done in the sense of like, I don't know to say they were making it comedic, but they were playing Christmas music while all these different things are going on. Yeah, it kept my attention, something kind of interesting to watch during the holidays. And I was talking about to myself and to my daughter about how I should be watching uplifting things during this time, especially to get in the holiday spirit. But then I end up watching stuff like Krampus, this movie Better Watch Out, which she picked, and then also The Black Swan, which I had always been curious about, but I didn't investigate it. Just know that if you go check that out, it is dark and it messes with your mind and kind of gives me, I don't know, it's just very suspenseful and very well done and very creative at the end. Okay, so those are the two movies that are sticking in my mind that I don't know. I just wanted to bring them up in my amazingness of just different things that go on and psychological stuff, anything, and society, and anything to do with inner struggles. Okay, so lastly, um, again, too, I hope that I stay clear since a lot of these things I try not to script too much, but I do have to take some notes. So I was titling this Trust Your Intuition, or basically Trust Your Gut. And this is about just a little bit on. Um, I don't know that I have been talking to you much about these job interviews I've been going on. I said I was going to talk about it, but I just haven't because it's been a very emotional, kind of discouraging, depressing journey. At the same time, I'm trying to be really positive. And what prompted this one, which, I could talk about the entire situation that's been going on off and on, had several different types of jobs over the past like year or two, and still looking for somewhere that I would like to stay long term in wellness. Well, yesterday it just reminded me again, I'm trying to stay really open minded. I don't mind working for somebody else again, as long as there's respect. I respect their morals. I respect their work, the ethics, the different things. In alignment with me, especially when it comes to holistic wellness and me wanting to get back into the skincare and wellness world hands on. And it just reminded me about um, trusting yourself initially. So, if you want to say this is being intuitive, so not everybody has this with inside of them. I think they just sometimes don't know how to tap into it, or they don't know how to trust it, or it's basically paying attention, right? Your sense of awareness. Sometimes people like me, we get feelings in our body. Usually, like somebody will start talking. So I'll get a general feeling, but then once they start talking or telling me stories, I get more of an impression of who they are, and I try to not give I try to give a benefit of the doubt if there is something questionable. So I went to this interview yesterday, and I'm trying to not just pick somewhere when it comes to these like skincare places or salons, which I'd probably rather not be in. I've decided is that just picking somewhere really beautiful, because it's just like a man or woman, right? You can look beautiful on the outside and then the inside does not match. So basically, I went to an interview, and most of the interview, which was about 20 minutes, was her picking my brain and asking me about basically what happened with my business, the journey, why I was to come to her at this point to want to work with her. But she never really asked that. She just kind of wanted to ask what happened to my business. And I wasn't offended. I don't know to say that I thought she was judging. I think she just wanted to know more. And so I walked away thinking not only, yes, it could be looked at as this was a waste of time, but I try to look at everything in a positive way. Like there's always something to gain, because I was not thinking she was going to ask me that question. She basically said, "Tell me about yourself." And now when I talk about myself and my business, I'm really watching my words because, energetically and everything that I believe in, what we put out, what you think about, you bring about. And so while I've talked about it in some ways, it sounds really negative and depressing. I didn't want to do that this time. So I was just logically sharing with her. And my overall impression, because in our industry, you can judge people, right, on appearance. That's what we see first. That's what we think. And over the phone, I didn't want to judge, and I thought she was actually going to be younger, which there's no problem with that. I could only see from pictures, so I didn't know, and I thought maybe she had gone to my school, that beauty college that I went to. So kind of a calm person. I wouldn't say like she was like super uplifting or anything. So of an energy. And then when I got there, the same thing too. And so just kind of a calm, seemed very professional. I didn't get any bad feelings from her, but I walked away now today after having sat on it and just thinking about me moving forward, somebody being in alignment with me. And I don't know necessarily that we would have butt heads. She may be actually, she's been in the industry 18 years. She may have been a little bit older than me. I'm not sure. Like maybe her like late 40s. I could be totally wrong. Um, and so I walked away just thinking, she has to interview a bunch of people. She said it's not necessarily being a fit or not being a fit. I think she's probably still trying to figure out what she's looking for. But what led me into talking about this today is anything. Okay, so the bit of advice, and this is me, I've noticed on this interviewing journey, is like I'm interviewing these people, as well as, do I want to work for them? Do I support what they're doing? Do I support their company? And yes, I have the luxury of doing this. I understand. And at this point, sometimes I'm just like, just get, anything. And I'm really only looking at my world and like food service, but again, because I don't want to leave somewhere just like after a year, and just that's not my goal. But me being so picky is delaying me just, trying other things maybe out of these two areas and out of this scope. Um, but so, you go to these interviews. Now I'm getting lost, but basically, going to these interviews and talking to these people, or was back it up to trusting your gut. And just a lot of things. Okay, I don't know where I was going with that, but basically, I just wanted to say in general, overall, that me walking away and realizing, maybe the person's not, if I have to second guess, and like I felt like this is one clue, I guess, to myself. I feel like I would have had to have another interview. Like, say, if she calls me back and says, yes, I would like to hire you, like, I don't know that I would accept it because I would want to have more conversations with her. And I realize in being myself and the person that I've become, especially after the last 10 years, this is something I wanted to talk about, is being myself and who I am and the questions and the everything. Some people don't like that. So, maybe she's looking for a younger girl who she can help build and grow. And I totally get that. Is just an example of, me with the irritations of just, I would want to have a second interview with her and ask her all these sorts of things that I need to know, like, am I getting paid when I don't have a client? Needing to provide my own insurance. How much do I get off retail? Sick leave? How often do I get raises? And all these sorts of questions that come from somebody who is experienced. And some people don't like that. So just in general, I've learned, I was going to talk about in one of my other solo episodes, is living as myself the past 10 years, really being direct and assertive. Um, it's great for me because I feel like I have more of a grip on certain situations, because almost kind of like the assessing of personality disorders, like I'm on to you, I'm on to you, people. And the beginning of all relationships, finding how often, like how long it takes for people to respond in a text message, and may ask, it might sound like strange questions, but it really helps me, because if the person is so busy and it is actually going to take them a few days, I'd rather know that than with my etiquette, like if you don't hear from me within a few hours, like there's something going on. Or even by the end of the day, like really by the end of the day or the next day, is when I, get back to people, and especially when it comes to clients, it's right away. But this whole thing, it's like this is how almost like I've become such a complicated person. But I just what I've learned in life and being really thorough and wanting to know certain things because I know the process. And I know people's behavior. So I try to knock it out. It's almost just become a natural thing for me to knock things out right away because I know what it's like in, if you want to say, dealing or managing, relationships with others that come from all walks of life. So that's what I say the advantage to you people if you want to learn more about human behavior, or, if you have to be in contact with people different ways, just like sales techniques, like all that sort of stuff. Um, the psychology of human behavior and interactions and everything. So I am already over my time limit, but I'm going to end with that. Basically, trusting your gut. If you're working with anybody, you're having a service with anybody, paying anybody for anything, um, just think of it like I'm not desperate. So if I'm going to find somewhere that I want to work, especially at this point in life, like I said, I am looking at it almost like I'm interviewing them. And it's funny. It is comical to me, and it's really interesting being out there because it also confirms a lot that sometimes they don't even fucking look at the resume. They don't even really care as long as they like you, and it's really fascinating out there. And in Sacramento, the food arena area industry is totally saturated. You don't even know if your resume got looked at. Just following up is just not even, I don't know, you can, just the stress of just going through the whole thing. It's annoying. Okay, so that's all for today, and thank you for listening to me run my mouth. I will talk to you soon. Talk to you next time.